everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer and today we're going to take a look at the Chanel Holiday Collection. I have both the highlighters, I have the eyeshadow quad, I have the eye gloss, I have the nail polishes and the lipsticks. So if you're interested in seeing all that, just stay tuned. Hey everybody, so we're going to dive right into the Chanel Holiday Collection. I picked up pretty much, well, I picked up every item in the collection, but I didn't pick up all the shades. The nail polishes, I picked up the green, which I'll show you in just a second, a little bit closer. And the lipsticks, I picked up 3 lipsticks. These are the Rouge Allure Lustre lipsticks. I only picked up one of the new shades. There's 2 new shades. Put the pictures above. There's 2 new shades and there's 2 kind of re-promotes. I picked up one of the new shades and 2 of the re-promotes because I didn't have those shades. And they actually looked really pretty in swatches, so I was just like, I'll get them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the highlighters because I want to explain a little bit about what these highlighters are. Now, if you're new to my channel, I was a makeup artist for Chanel a long time ago, half a lifetime ago, so it feels like. And back in the day, we had a more limited group of things. And these oversized luminizers or face palettes, I don't remember them ever existing. I don't remember ever seeing anything this large, to be honest with you. So I admit I'm a little, not skeptical, but I'm kind of like, is anyone actually going to use this much highlighter? So the size kind of throws me a little bit, but we'll talk about that. So this is the Cuivre Dore. And this is the Rose. You can see that this one has a little bit more of a pinkish cast. I did do swatches over on Instagram on myself and my husband. It's not really that pink. I'll do it today again on my arm, but I think these are gonna be deep for my skin tone. I think for a medium skin tone or deeper, I think these will work as highlighter. On me, I think these are gonna work as a blush. Again, we'll get into it in a second. These are called Oversized Illuminating Face Powders. I went through my Chanel collections and I have a number of highlighters, like a ton of different highlighters from Chanel. I have an illuminating blush powder, which is, and I have a few of them, that's this type of formula. Remember the Shane's, you can see it has like a pinkish cast to it. I use that as blush because it's too deep for me. And I have illuminating blush powders, illuminating, one's called, I forgot the other name of it, but I did find one that said illuminating powder, not face powder, but powder. This is the Camellia from earlier this year. This was a limited edition product. So I'm gonna see if it's got a similar look and feel to these. Weight. So the size of these for the highlighters, we have an 18-month shelf life, first of all, made in Italy, and they are 0.56 ounces. So that is fairly large. I'm gonna pull out the bronzers that are the oversized, and they are 0.53 ounces. So actually the bronzers have a teeny bit less product, but the size is basically the same. So you're gonna have a lot of highlighter, or a lot of blush, or however you use this product. I do also want to mention that I have the Oversized Healthy Glow highlighting powders that came out earlier this year. These were not in the US, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they were in the US. And I have Tender Pink and Soft Peach. And I'll show you these next to the new highlighters as well. They are very subtle, like really, really subtle. So we'll take a look at all those and see how they look. Let's look at the Rose first. It has a very smooth feel to it, but I will say that it's not super soft, which is okay because, you know, you're not putting this on your eye. This is for your face. But you can see that's the Rose. It's not really, in my opinion, pink. It has like a almost warm gold shade. Here's the Cuivre, and it is, I think, very similar to the Rose. It's deeper and has even more of a bronze kind of look to it. Both of these are going to be too deep for me as a highlighter. They're not going to work as highlighters. So we're going to come up with a creative way of using them. The soft peach, now again, this is from the highlighting powder, is a much softer formula. It feels almost like, you can see it like broke up on me because it's like very powdery. It feels more like a bronzer. And then the tender pink, can you see the drastic difference between these? And the formula is totally different. These are powdery. They basically are like almost like a finishing powder with a little bit of luminescence. And these new ones, these illuminating face powders, are very much like a highlighter and remind me of the Tom Ford highlighting duos, the Shade and Illuminates that have just come out. By the way, Ree at Nordstrom, and I'll put the information below, has the new Tom Ford highlighting powders if you're looking for them. I should post about that on Instagram. So you can see the difference between the ones that came out earlier this year in case you missed them. These are not at all the same. These are very pigmented, very shimmery highlighters. Again, they're calling them illuminating face powders, but they're very shimmery. So let me show you against the illuminating blush powder. This is the Shane's. This one came out 2 years ago. Jeez, I don't even know anymore. But you can see pigment-wise, it's about the same as the blush formula, the illuminating blush formula. Now the blush is not nearly as shimmery. It's more of a, a radiance, a luminescence, whereas these have more of that highlighting look. But still, interesting to note how pigmented these are. Now let's look at next to the Camellia powder, which I love, by the way. Love the Camellia powder. Yes, this has the same kind of reflection, same luminescence highlighting aspect to the powder, but it is a much lighter color and of course works on someone with my skin tone very well. These are going to be more of like a blush. Okay, so what I was thinking we could do is to go in with the Rose on one side and the Cuivre on the other, because I think they're actually very similar. I think one is just a little bit lighter. I don't think the Rose looks rosy or peachy at all, in my opinion. We'll see how it looks on the face. So let's take a KZ brush. This is a Chikuhodo. It's a soft cheek brush, which I think is going to give us a little bit of a lighter disbursement. And I'm going to use the Rose, the Rose, and I'm going to use it on this side of the face, and I'm going to kind of use it almost like a cheek product, like a highlighting cheek product. And I'm going to go in, like I said, this is going to diffuse it a lot because the brush that I'm using kind of gives you that very soft diffused look. If you wanted something more intense, there's many brushes that will do that for you. But I want to show you how I can use this as a highlighter, sort of, but a little bit of blush, because you can see on me, it still imparts quite a bit of color. It's not a true like highlight that I could put on the top of my cheekbones or down my nose. I think it would be too deep. But it is beautiful. It's a really gorgeous shade, but it's warm. And I'm just kind of putting it, like around my temple area. I think I can do that with this, just like that. You can see the difference between the two sides of the face. I'll put my hair back so you can see it a little bit better. Now you can see what I mean though. It's too deep to really, for my look, for what I use, it's a little too deep for a true highlighter, but I think it would work really well as almost like I'd say it's like a blush with a little bit of luminescence or a lot of luminescence. Yeah, I think it works as like a blush with some luminescence. On somebody with a deeper skin tone, absolutely you could use this as a highlighter. All right, so now this side is the Cuivre. So this is gonna be the deeper. You can already see that. And it already looks like blush on me. I'm just diffusing it out. So here's the Cuivre, and here's the Rose. I think you can see already this is much deeper and looks even more so like a blush. But because of the color, it almost works as like a bronzer on me, which is interesting because it's because it's got that warmth to it. I bet you, I'm just gonna put this up like in my temple area as well. You see how that kind of works a little bit as a bronzer. Now you can't do too much of it because it's too shimmery, but I think just using it like that works well on my face. I think trying to use that as a highlighter would just be, you know, too deep for my skin tone. I do think it looks really nice as a luminescent blush slash bronzer on my face. So I don't see a discernible difference except that this one's a lot deeper in shade. I don't think this one looks pinker or cooler really. I mean, there's a little bit of it, but honestly, as you saw on my hand, I think the shades are very similar, but I think the Cuivre is deeper. So I'm much more likely to use the Eau Rose because I think I can use it more like a highlighter, whereas this one is, you know, too deep to really use as anything but a highlighting blush slash bronzer, depending on how I'd want to use it. I think they are beautiful. I think the formula is really nice. It's very sheer, like silky. So it doesn't have a cream feel to it like the ones from earlier this year that had that very powdery. This is more of like a silky, very smooth, like light feel. So it's very finely milled. That's what I mean by sheer. It goes on really well and does not accentuate texture. If you look, it doesn't suddenly show all the texture that we all have on our faces, even though it's over my entire cheek area. So I think it will work well on a more mature skin, but I will also say because it is reflective, because highlighters are, it's not going to be like the palettes that I showed you. The Tender Pink, these are like the, this one's Le Beige's Healthy Glow highlighting powder. This is a very soft, very powdery formula. And this almost looks like a finishing powder on the skin. It doesn't really have, even they call it a highlighter. That's not what it does. It just gives you a slight luminescence to your skin, almost like the Hourglass powders. You know, they have the finishing powders that have like a slight luminescence, but they're very powdery. They just kind of give that overall glow. These are definitely more refractive, highlighting types of products. So if you are somebody that really doesn't like anything that will show off pores or texture on your skin, these are more likely to do it than the other product. I do think if you're looking for a really nice warm highlighter, a deeper one, these are beautiful. My question whether or not I will ever use up this much highlighter slash blush for me, I think is a decent one because you are paying a lot for these oversized palettes. The bronzers made sense to me because I actually have gone through quite a bit of the medium-sized bronzer, interestingly enough. Highlighter, it's not something I'm going to use as much, me personally, but maybe you use a lot of highlighter. I also think you could use these on the eye, and in fact, I think they would be really beautiful on the eye. I'm not going to do that today because I have two different eye products that I need to show you from the collection, but I will in future videos make sure I incorporate that so you can see what they look like. I think they are pigmented enough and beautiful and silky and sheer enough that they're actually going to work really nicely as an addition to an eye product. I often use a bronzer in my crease, the bronzers that I use in my face in the crease. So something like this with a bronzer, one of the oversized bronzers for instance, might make a really easy look. Take the medium oversized bronzer, put it in your crease, and then put this on the lid. So we'll try that in some future videos to see how that works out. But I do think the formula is really good, and it's silky and it's smooth, and I don't think it over accentuates texture. Again, though, I don't know how much highlighter you need. In terms of packaging, I mean, I think it's really pretty that they have the Chanel No. 5 and the I guess it's the earth that they've got on there. But I'm not overwhelmed because it's just the regular packaging with the gold CCs on it. You know, like compared to the tweed packaging, for example, and I talk about it in my best and worst of fall. I'm not going to say that the product was the best I've ever used, but the packaging compared to this, that packaging was far more interesting, in my opinion. Okay, so let's look at the eyeshadows. and I say eyeshadows because I have eyeshadow and eye gloss. This is the Ombre de Lune 937, 0.07 ounces of product, 18 months, 18 months. And this is a very warm toned palette. I will happily compare this to anything you'd like to see it against, but I think off the top of my head, I can already tell you it's going to look like the Cuivre from the Tweeds palette, and a number of other gold palettes. Jungle from Guerlain? There's a bunch of them. So let me know what you want, and I'll make sure they're over on Instagram, just like I did with the Dore products. I will, you know, swatch so you can get comparisons to whatever you want to see. But so do I think this is a really new color story? No, I don't. This is a color story that's been done time and time again, but it's a very pretty color story. It's very warm. These are satins. This is also satin, but I think it has a matte. Well, it's either, I think this could be a matte. It's kind of hard to tell because it's actually very smooth. It has like a satiny feel, but it's going to present more like a matte, where these are going to be more satins. And then this is a topper, and it's a really bright gold, glittery topper. The embossing on this is basically gone, and I've only swatched it like 3 or 4 times. But I think you can already see a little bit. There was the CC's here, and then this was the Chanel No. 5 bottle. It's a very warm palette. I don't know, you know, I think the formula is nice, and I think it's going to work well on the eye. We're going to try it out, but it's not revolutionary for Chanel. So if you decide not to pick it up because you've seen the color story before, you know, I would understand that. The Cuivre Tweed palette, you know what, I'm just going to pull it out. All right, let's swatch it next to the Cuivre, or Cuivre, or however I'm supposed to pronounce it. This is the new one. That's what I just had on the back of my hand. And let's put the Cuivre right underneath it. Now the Cuivre, or Cuivre, in the Tweed palette, I can tell you already it's more pigmented. But it has a similar color story. Okay, so this is the new one. This is the Holiday. This is the Cuivre. You can see what I mean. The idea is very similar. We have satiny matte here, satiny matte here. These are a little more shimmery, and then we've got the toppers. I'd say that the Cuivre is actually cooler than this new one. The Holiday one is actually warmer and not as deep. One thing to think about, like when you're looking at palettes, whether it's a quad or quint or whatever, if you have a difference of shade, so if you have something deep like this and something lighter like this, or even if there was like a white or white gold shade in here, it gives you more depth. If the shades are very similar to one another, they can get muddy on the eye, even if you have a really good formula. It depends on the undertones of each shade, whether or not they will sort of blend into one. And I can tell you, I have a lot of palettes that do kind of blend into one, but I still really like them because I like the look on my eye, so I like them and I enjoy them, but they still blend into one. All right, so I have my new Fusion brushes from Sonai G. I always love a good Sonai G brush set. So let's go ahead and use this. This is the sort of rounded top one. It's a blender. These work really well on cream products and powder. I've used her Fusion set before. She didn't have an eye set, obviously, but the formula is the formula. The blend of hairs is natural and synthetic to give you sort of the prime ability to pick up cream and liquids and also apply powder products. So if you're interested in the Sonai G set, I would tell you I have a large collection of Sonai G brushes. They're all excellent for their various purposes. The large bronzer brush is like one of my favorites, new favorites that she's come out with. So I'm just taking that brown, satiny matte shade and using it as a transition shade. I am putting it a little higher above the crease a little bit to use that as that transition into the brow. There isn't really a light shade in here that I want to use in the brow area. There's not like a matte. I don't tend to use shimmery shades on my brow. Absolutely can. You can do anything you want. But when you use a shimmery shade in your brow area on a more mature eye, it can, not always, but it can make the eye look a little heavy. Draws your attention to an area that is frankly losing some elasticity. So it's not, you know, again, it's up to you how you want to use things, but I try to keep this area somewhat matte. So I kept the shade, I pushed it up a little bit above the crease, and what I will do is kind of blend that upward and diffuse it out. So I'll take like a very fluffy brush with nothing on it and just kind of pull that a little bit into the brow area. So I go back and forth in the crease and then just lightly pull it up into the brow. So it's pretty seamless. It just gives a little shade and a little bit of a transition so it's nice and smooth. Let's use the more brownish, quote, brownish shade. This is a detail brush. When I say brownish, I mean the one with the CCs on it. The other one has a little bit more copper. We're gonna use this on the outer of the eye, and this is a really good detail brush. Detail brushes just mean that they are narrow or, you know, like not particularly fluffy, and so that you can use it exactly like I'm using it right now for like the outer corner of the eye. To use it along the lash line, if you want to use it on the inner corner, it would allow you to do that detail work, whatever that happens to be for you. All right, so then we'll take, I think I'm going to use the worker brush. Worker brushes she has, they kind of almost act like your finger in a way. It gives you an ability to pick up more pigment. We're going to go into this shade here and put that on the eye. Like I said, that's the more orangey shade. You could have reversed what I did and put this in the outer corner and take that shade that was more like a little bit more brown, a little more tan, and put that out here. But because I have blue eyes, this shade, this like goldish orangey shade, actually brings out the blue in my eyes, tends to look good as a contrast with blue eyes. So as you can see, my eyes look bluer because of the orange shade of the shadow. So then we're gonna take the topper shade. Now I always use my finger for topper shades. I feel like they work best that way, but if you don't like using your fingers or you just don't, you don't wanna do that, you wanna use your brushes, the Sonai G workers are really good for that. So are the builders that she has. They're really excellent at picking up pigment. This one here is the builder one. The builder is a little like squarer than the worker, but they're great for picking up these kinds of like shimmery shades if you wanted to put something that has a lot of shimmer. Now I'm gonna take that shimmer shade just on the detail brush and kind of put that, this is just the one, this is the topper shade that I used on the top, but I'm just kind of putting it in the corner. So that's the look you're gonna get with this. It is a very warm look. I'm gonna go back into that deep brown and just fudge out the outer corner. Yeah, this is a much warmer look than the Cuivre. The Cuivre is warm, but this is warmer than that. It's just interesting because on my arm you could see it. It's a cooler, the Cuivre is cooler. This is a very warm, it almost turns like a pumpkin shade on my coloring. I think because of the way I put the gold over that orangey shade, it made it even like more orange almost. I like it because again, with blue eyes, it's a nice contrast. I'm just using the brown going under the lower lash line a little bit. Yeah, I think it's really pretty, but this is a very shimmery, very warm, very, very warm. Almost orange, like goldy orange. I think it's really a good formula by Chanel. It's not as pigmented as the Tweed Cuivre, but it's got a matte in it. It's got two shimmery shades, which I think are nice. The topper is actually like a really good topper, like that's a bright pigmented topper, and it's not piecemeal, like it doesn't feel, I'll put it in the back of my hand so you can see what I'm talking about. There's not pieces of glitter. I hate when there's pieces of glitter because it gets in your eyes. So it ends up looking really shimmery on and is very pretty. But that shade is like a sunburst kind of shade, you know? It's a bright orangey gold. So if you don't like those shades or they're not flattering to you, this is not going to be your your quad. I think it does go with the highlighting powders though, because they're very warm as well. So that makes some sense. Okay, so before we move to lips and I talk about nails, I have this, and I'm laughing because I'm really not sure what to do with it. And the reason I say that is because it's an eye gloss. Now, there are two shades in this eye gloss. There's little brushes that come with it. This like teeny little brush. And then there's a spoolie and a tiny, tiny little brush. And it says on the back, Brow, Lash, and Lid Kit, featuring 2 gels and 3 accessories. The accessories are, I'll show them to you. There's it's a little spoolie, and a tiny little like liner brush. And so when I read this and it says brow, lash, and lid, you could put this gloss in your brows, on your lashes, or on your lid. Now, here's the thing. I'm not big on gloss on my eyes. I think for editorial looks, it looks really cool. Like you see a picture with like a glossy eye. I think it looks amazing. But my question always is, yeah, but how do you open and close your eyes and not have like glumpy gloss and your mascara gets in your gloss? And how does it not like run all over your face? Like these are the practical questions that I ask. I'm gonna swatch these too. So these are very glossy. They feel really nice. They feel like they would be a lovely gloss on the lips. I don't know how these would work on an eye. Like I just feel like they're like a lip gloss. Like they're not gonna dry down. I don't know, maybe they do dry down, but they don't feel like they're gonna dry down. Let's just put it right here. So they feel like a gloss, like a lip gloss, which again, I like a good lip gloss, don't get me wrong, but okay, they're hard to see, but you've got the deeper like peachy one here and the gold one here. So I would not put this on, my eyebrows. I just wouldn't. And I'm not gonna put it on my lashes. Putting it on my lid even seems a little strange to me, but we're gonna try this because this is what we're here to do. So let's take the peachy one and I'm just gonna put it here for a second. It's not picking up anything underneath. You do get that wet look with it, so that's nice. We'll see if it actually dries into the skin. The Chanel has those sticks that you use that are like a face gloss. They never dry down on me. I don't know why, but they don't. I'm gonna take the lighter one, which doesn't really seem to have much of a shade. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, it does pick up the shade underneath, but if I just tap it on, it didn't pick up too much of it. I don't know what it did though. Does my eye look glossier? I mean, I guess it does look a little glossier. Let's take the little brush. Let's take the little brush and let's use it in the brow area where I said, let's not put anything glossy. Let's go totally against that. The reason I say that, guys, is if you're like me and you're, older, your skin loses elasticity. So this part of your brow starts to droop a little bit. And if you have something shiny up here, it can like basically accentuate that texture and make it look heavier. That's the reason I don't put things that are shiny. So it looks shiny. I have a feeling that now every time I blink, my eyeshadow is going to like rub off into my eyebrow. Let me see what happens if I try to take the shadow and put it like on top of it. Let's see what happens if I do that. Let's take like the brown shade. Oh, you can put it on top. Like now I am using brushes that are meant to be used with liquid or cream. So I'm not like worried about the brush. Don't do this with a brush that, is not meant to be used with anything liquid because you're going to be getting it in contact with this gloss. Yeah, you can put powder over it. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really know how I feel about it because, again, I don't put gloss on my eyes, but I don't think it looks bad. It feels a little tacky. The one on my face feels a little tacky too. I don't know, is my answer to you. I don't know how I feel about it, but I will say, I mean, it's on my lids and it's on my upper, like, highlight here. So let's see what it does. Like, see if it starts to wear and looks really funny or strange. All right, let me curl my eyelashes, and then we'll talk about the nails and the lipstick. Okay, mascara is on, and I'll tell you something interesting that happened with the mascara. So my lashes had got in contact with the gloss on my eyelids, and it made my eyelashes kind of stick together a little bit, and it made my lashes look kind of glossy, but it also had, like, I had a difficult time getting the mascara to work. So the gloss is an interesting, like, if you're putting it on your lashes, you might get kind of this look with it. See how my lashes look kind of glossier than they usually do? It's because they have a little bit of the gloss on them from the lid. I can also tell you, I can already see the transfer happening with the shade onto the upper part of my lid. So if you have a heavy lid, or you have, if you have a lid that kind of comes over and touches your mascara a little bit, I would not use this gloss because it's instantly going to transfer and take off the shade. My eyelids are pretty dry, and I can already see that happening with mine. And to be honest with you, that's why I don't like glosses, because it's incredibly sticky, and it's still sticky. And so I don't see, this is just me, I don't see how you could use this in real life. Like, because I just feel like in about 10 minutes, all the color is going to transfer to, like, my brow area, because I'm going to keep blinking and the color is just going to keep going. Or it's going to smudge onto my lashes, and then I'm going to have smudging under my eye. So the gloss product, at least for right now, I don't like it. And I just don't understand gloss products for your eyes. Like, maybe that's just me. Maybe it's the shape of my eyes. I don't know. But I think it's great for editorial, but I don't think it's great for real life. Okay, let's move on to nails before we move to lips. So the shade that I have on is the Clair de Lune. This is the greenish khaki kind of shade, and it's what I have on my nails. So I wanted you to be able to see how it looked on my nails, because I think it does look different in the bottle than it does on the nails. I absolutely love this shade. I love khaki. I love the shade, olive green, army green, pretty much any type of green. But this type of green, this army green, olive green, khaki green, has a brown to it. It has like a warmth to it. It's like the khaki, velours khaki Tom Ford quad. And I love that shade because I feel like it's very wearable. A very bright green, a very Kelly green. I also love that shade, but it's not as easy to wear on your eyes or on your nails for many of us. Again, it's all about what you feel comfortable in and, you know, your place of work and all of that. But this is very, very wearable. It's beautiful. It almost acts as a neutral. I think khaki green is definitely more of like a neutral shade. I actually don't think it's difficult to blend into other things. So I absolutely love this nail polish. The other shade that I bought was the topper shade. This is, I've already forgotten the name, Shimmering Amber Top Coat in Étoile. I'm sure that's not right. But the shade is like this really glossy shade. I'm gonna put it over one of my nails and we'll let it dry while we're talking about lipsticks. But it's just a shimmery top coat. There really isn't much to it. It's just like a gold shimmer. So if you're looking for something to put on other shades, that's the way to go to get the gold one. The green, this Clair de Lune, make sure I got it right, Clair de Lune. It's just an olive green shade. It's a beautiful shade. I love the Chanel nail polishes. I think they're really easy to use. This one, I just put the top coat on. I think you can see how it's got like little gold flecks in it. But it's subtle. I did not purchase the red because I have so many red nail polishes. I was just like, I'm not gonna need it. I'm sure the shade is beautiful. I'm sure it is. Like I said, Chanel does a great job with their nail polishes. They're some of my favorite nail polishes, but I don't need it. And I am trying to get towards my low buy that I'll be doing after I get through holiday. So I figure I should start practicing now. And stuff that I don't need or not gonna wear, I'm not gonna buy. So in that vein, I did not pick up one of the new shades. One of the new shades, and I'll have the picture above, is 917. And the other new shade is 927. I did pick up the 927. These are the Rouge Allure La Stray. These are very expensive for what you get. They are 0.07 ounces. They are refillable. They are high intensity lip color concentrated. Now I'm going to be doing, again, after I get through holiday, videos that are going to be like my entire collection of Chanel lipsticks on the lips, my entire collection of Tom Ford, my entire Chantecaille, the whole thing on my lips. I'm going to do eyeshadows, a bunch of other things. But in the meantime, I will tell you that this formula is incredibly smooth. It feels really nice on the lips. They say that it has radiance and care. This is the 827. This is the new shade, Brune Lune Air. Now, I knew I was gonna like the shade, so I picked it up. I was like, yeah. The 917 is a very bright red gold. It very much fits with the gold leaning of everything else, but a red base. It's a warm red. I generally don't wear red lipsticks, and if I'm going to wear a deep lipstick, it's gonna be something more like this. It's not gonna be a golden red. Golden reds do not look good on me with my skin tone. Just doesn't work for me. It clashes with my hair, so I didn't buy it. But if you're looking for like a gold red, I'm sure it's a beautiful shade. The other shades that I picked up that were repromotes as part of this collection are 824, which is Rose Invincible. It's a very almost magenta pink. And then the other one is 858 Rouge Royal. This red is more of a blue red, which does actually work really well on me. For whatever reason, a blue red like this looks nice on me. A gold red, not as much. So I would also say about blue reds, they make your teeth look really white, by the way. So I picked up those three shades. Again, we have 827, which is a new shade. That's Brune Lunaire. We have 824 Rose Invincible, and we have 858 Rouge Royal, which I didn't have these two before, so I figured I'd pick them up. But this is a new shade. It's the one I'll use today. It has a brown undertone. You'll see when I put it on my lips. And like I said, the one that I did not pick up is a gold red. And there's the new shade. I really like this. I think this is beautiful. I will not wear it that often because I don't wear deep lipsticks that often, but this has a really nice like brownish undertone to the red. So I do enjoy this shade more than I like, you know, like a gold red or a warm red. This is almost like a bricky red. It's really, really nice. The formula, I've talked about this before. It is a very rich, opaque formula, which I think feels really good on the lips. And I would also say that I like the shape of these lipsticks, even though I know you get less lipstick for the money, because it fits perfectly within my lip. It's really easy for me to use on my lips without a liner. I would put a liner on with this type of shade anyway, because I am older and lipstick does bleed. So, I mean, I would wear a liner anyway, but you can see how easily I put this on my lips without a liner. It's because of the shape. It's because it's narrow, frankly, and because of the size, it just fits perfectly within the size of my lip. So I don't, you know, I don't worry about going outside the lines and being messy. So I like the more narrow lipsticks. I also recognize though that it's a lot of money for less lipstick. So I get that. So if you don't like it, that's totally understandable. They are refillable. They have 18 months, but again, these are lipsticks. Lipsticks always, you know, they go bad faster than powder products. Powder products I keep, just me, I keep way past expiration dates. Lipsticks I do not. They are high intensity. They are very smooth. They feel really nice on the lips. I have very dry lips and these feel very comfortable to me. So I don't feel like they're opaque and heavy. I feel like they're more like almost the Dries Van Noten, very creamy, really nice, but light, not too heavy on the lips. But they are definitely high intensity. There's a lot of shade here. So you don't have to worry about that. If you're looking for something that's more like a sheer red, I would go with like a Dries Van Noten. They have a beautiful sheer red. Or La Bouche Rouge. But this is a high intensity color. It has a lot of pigment to it, but it also has radiance and it feels comfortable. So I'm not somebody who wears a matte lip very often. There's a few velvet lips that I like, but matte rarely. But this, I like this formula. I'm not sure if it's my favorite formula from Chanel. I'll talk about that when I do my entire Chanel collection. But I will say, I do like the formula. Whether it's not worth, you know, the money, that's a different thing. I admit I wish the refills were like a lot less expensive because that would make more sense, but Chanel has a tendency to make things very expensive. I would say the Rouge Allure, just the regular Rouge Allure lipsticks, if you look at the difference, they're the same. You can tell they're Allures because they have like the same pop top. You can see the difference in size, right? And the Rouge Allures are a great formula. They're not necessarily as opaque as this, but they're very comfortable. They feel really good on the lips and they have great saturation. So when I go through my collection video and talk about the differences, I will compare like the formulas of these. But what I would say for right now is, if you're looking for a really great Chanel lipstick, I'd probably just go with the Allures. But if you're looking for like one special lipstick, this is a great new color. I really like it. And I think the lipsticks work really well. I think they stay on. They do stain. They are comforting. But I'm not going to say it beats the Allure, which is frankly more for your money. So that's it for today, guys. I have to tell you, my favorite product out of all of this is the nail polish. Love, love the Clair de Lune nail polish. If you get nothing else from the collection, if you decide the collection is not for you because it's far too warm and you're never going to use this much highlighter and it's too deep, and the lipsticks are too expensive for how much you get, and the eye gloss makes no sense in a practical world, which I totally understand, pick up the nail polish, the green one. Again, if you hate green, then obviously it's not going to be for you, but it's really pretty. It's really a beautiful shade, and you don't see this shade too often, which is too bad because I really like it. Although this year you're seeing the shade everywhere. I just posted something on Instagram, like olive green, khaki green is everywhere, which makes me very happy. So yeah, my favorite thing is the nail polish. I'd say second, it's this lipstick because I really like this shade, and I think it's a good formula for me, and I like the smaller lip. The lacquer, the eye gloss, look, it's still a little tacky on my face, to be honest with you. And on my eye, I can already see the color like pulling from the gloss. So it's not fair to me to say that this one is, quote, bad because I just don't like eye gloss. I picked it up because I have not seen an eye gloss from Chanel in a long time. There was one years and years ago. And I want to be fair and try it before I say I don't like it. But I just don't like eye glosses. I don't think they work. Again, that's me. The illuminating face powders actually look really nice on the skin. I think it gives a beautiful glow, and if you use it with an appropriate brush on my skin tone, you can make both of them work. I think the Aura Rose is a little bit more, a little better for my skin tone, but it's a lot of highlighter. It's a lot of highlighter. You know, it depends. Maybe you use a lot of highlighter. Maybe you like this really luminous look all over your face and want to use it all over your face, especially if you have a medium skin tone. It won't stand out as much as it does on me. So, you know, it depends on what you use. The packaging doesn't thrill me. My favorite is the green nail polish. And if you're looking for particular comparisons to the I did the Tweed Cuivre today, and I did a couple of powders. But if you're looking for other comparisons, let me know. I'll make sure they're over on Instagram. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon.